Gaylord College here at the University of Oklahoma. I'm Abby Williams.
And I'm Britton Ross, ready to talk all things Sooner sports.
Well, both Sooner squads have stopped dancing, but OU men's basketball is still finding ways to win in the offseason.
Plus, spring football is in full swing. Even without a spring game this year, the Sooners are still working on getting ready for the new Crimson Combine.
And later in the show, we have an exclusive sit-down interview with two members of the OU rowing team with Sooner Sports Pad's own Brooke Griggs.
To kick it off, OU women's basketball went up to Spokane for the first Sweet 16 since 2013, but it wasn't too sweet for the Sooners. They held Husky superstar Paige Beckers in check for the first half. Peyton Verhulst finished with 16 points with 4 made three-pointers for OU. The Sooners led at the break 36-32, but Beckers dropped 29 points in the second half. She finished with a 40-piece, and she sent the Sooners home with a final score of 82-59, and it was a hard-fought loss for the Sooners.
I have just a phenomenal support system at home, and that just makes the game of basketball so much easier when you have that, and you can just, after a hard day, call and be like, hey, it was a tough day, and they can just pour into you. And then it's so cool to have that also, because then it just solidifies where you are in the program I chose.
Well, the Sooners have a bright future ahead with the addition of the class of 2025's #1 recruit, Aaliyah Chavez, and Oklahoma native Keziah Lofton. I have a good feeling OU will be back in the Sweet 16 soon enough.
And Abby, I think you're right. Look at this list. Outside of the new recruits, they have a ton of talent coming back next season. This program is headed in the right direction under Jenny Baranczyk.
Well, we don't have a game highlight from the men's basketball team because their season has been over. But luckily for you, Sooner fans, it's spring football time. We got a first look at new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Ben Arbuckle with the team, alongside the Sooners' newest guy under center, John Mateer. Now, even though Mateer's the leader of the offense, he knows how important success is on both sides of the ball.
He has freak athletes on his defense, from the interior to the DBs. Everybody on the field is very good, very talented, and so we can't make mistakes and I can't miss. You know, if I miss a throw, it's going the other way, which is good, and it's fun. It builds confidence in me, like knowing that this is good defense and a very smart head coach / DC, you know, calling good plays and doing a lot of good stuff.
OU has made some interesting moves this offseason. Hiring Jim Nagy as the general manager might be the biggest move for the Sooners. And they need to win in the offseason to be able to win in the fall, and it seems like they've been doing well so far.
True, Britton, but it's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. According to ESPN, Oklahoma has the toughest strength of schedule for the 2025 season. They don't expect the Sooners to even win 7 games. And with basketball season over, it just gives us more time to focus on other Sooner sports. Both softball and baseball started their series off 1-1. Stick with us to find out if the Sooners pulled out the win or if they didn't. Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. We're back and taking you out to the ballpark. Let's start things off with OU softball tonight, who took on Tennessee this weekend just down the road at Love's Field. Game 1 against the Lady Vols. Game was tied 2-2 at the end of the 7th to send it to extra innings. But no luck for OU as Tennessee wins the series opener 5-2 in 8. Saturday's game, different story. Kirsten Deal and Sydney Sanders are the MVPs there. Sooners tied up with the series of a score 4-1. Now, all on the line Sunday. Things were going great for OU until the 4th inning, where Tennessee scored all 5 of their runs to win it 5-3. And even though they came up short, Patty Gasso knows how much her girls want it.
They're very, very hard on themselves because they want to be so good. So how do I, as a coach and our coaching staff, relax this team and get them to understand that they are good enough and they believe that everything is wrapped around them? And I'm like, that's a selfish attitude to take because this is a team.
Things really came full circle when Sooner turned Vol Sophia Nugent hit a 2-run homer to give Tennessee the win on Friday night. The Sooners' thin pitching staff was put on full display over the weekend, and they need to get better in a hurry.
Well, Sooner fans, don't hit the panic button just yet. Tennessee's a good team, and this is the Sooners' first series loss of the season. Now against UT Arlington, they're up 13-2 in the bottom of the 4th.
And over on the mound, the Sooner baseball squad went down to Alabama for a clash with the Crimson Tide. And after dropping Friday's game 8-6, the Sooners bounced back on Saturday. Here in the top of the ninth, and Trey Gamble hits a sacrifice fly to break the tie. And then on the very next batter, Easton Carmichael will single to bring home another run, and the Sooners win Saturday 6-5 to tie the series. Now, Sunday's rubber game didn't go too well for the Sooners. Filled with rain delays, down 8-1 in the fourth inning. OU's comeback fell short, losing the game 8-6, losing their first SEC series of the season.
Well, win or loss, the Sooners came real close to completing that comeback. Now they're still a top 10 team, and this was also baseball's first conference series loss of the season. Now if they can bring that momentum against Texas Tech,
well, we'll see if they can. They're playing right now, and the score is tied at 1 in the bottom of the second, so still a long way to go in that one, so we'll have to see if they pull it out.
Well, thanks, Britton. Now let's take it over to the mat. OU Gymnastics is gearing up for their NCAA Seattle Regional to kick off the postseason. And they have an impressive resume going into the weekend. Announced yesterday, 5 Sooners combined to secure 14 All-American honors from the Women's Collegiate Gymnastics Association. The 14 honors are tied with LSU for the most in the country.
And after losing in the national semifinals last season, the revenge tour is still going strong for the Sooners. They have been dominant this season, and they look like they're competing at their best at the right time.
Yeah, they are. Well, in the Seattle Regional on Friday, the Sooners will take on Auburn, Nebraska, and the winner of the Illinois UC Davis meet. Don't worry, Sooner fans. LSU, the only team OU has lost to, is on the other side of the bracket, so they wouldn't even meet until the national championship.
And the men's gymnastics team has had some time off, but this season has definitely been a good one for the Sooners. OU sits at 14-1 this year with that lone loss against Stanford back on January 18th. But the Sooners did get their revenge against the Cardinals at McCaslin Fieldhouse back in February. They haven't competed since March 15th, but now they're still ranked as the #1 team in the country headed into the last few competitions of the year.
And they have some real depth. Today, it was announced that senior Emery Donnelly was named a regular season All-American on 3 different events, and in total, 6 different Sooners earned regular season All-American honors.
And after the time off, now they compete in the MPSF championships with Air Force, Cal, and 5-time defending national champion Stanford before the NCAA championships 2 weeks from now in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And don't go anywhere, because when we come back, our very own Brooke Griggs has an exclusive in-studio interview with 2 members of the OU rowing squad. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to the Sooner Sports Pad. It's now time for an exclusive sit-down interview with 2 guests taking a break from the boat to be with us here tonight. Please welcome Leah Brannon Reeves and Caroline Downs from the OU rowing team. Yay! Leah is a junior from Chandler, Oklahoma.
And Caroline is a senior from Weatherford, Oklahoma, where she transferred in from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Brooke, take it away.
Well, thank you guys for joining us here today on Sooner Sports Pad. First, I have a question for both of you. OU rowing is now ranked 19th in the CRCA coaches poll. After the step up and this move up in the rankings, what growth have you seen in your team?
Wow, that's a great question. We have seen such discipline in our team. We have solidified ourselves into reaching this goal, and we have bigger goals to accomplish. So taking this first step has just been a huge, exciting moment for us, because we are seeing our work finally paying off, and we're headed in the right direction.
I love that.
I think the biggest thing about taking this step is that it's a step in the right direction, like Caroline said. We feel like we've been underestimated a lot, especially at the beginning of this season. We have beat teams that are currently ranked higher than us. So this past weekend gave us the chance to prove that we're faster than people think we are, and we're definitely planning on moving up in the ranks.
And then this is your 3rd year rowing for OU. This is your 2nd after transferring. Do you feel like you've taken on a leadership role, like you've said that your team has grown and like really taken a step to where you're pushing them farther? You've been here since your coach got here, so through it all.
Yeah, well, I wasn't here before Coach Tro was here, but I hear that the team culture was not as healthy as it is now. I think Coach Tro has done a lot to build this program. I think those of us that were in my class and are moving up into the junior and senior positions, I think we're really on board with trying to help grow our team culture. And Yes.
I think I kind of have a unique position and perspective because I didn't grow up rowing. Being from Weatherford, Oklahoma, all we have is dirt. You can't row on dirt. And so coming in, like, I don't know all the fancy technique. I don't know all the terms, and I don't know all the boat layouts, but I know how to pull on an oar, and so that's what I have to offer. So I think from a leadership standpoint, at some points, you just have to block out everything and stop overthinking and just yam on the oar and try to break it and give it everything you have. So that's all I have to offer.
Well, hey, that's enough to offer. And you're talking about yamming on the oar. So we know it's a team sport, but you all have your own position. So I wanted to know like a little in-look on what does each of you do like on the boat?
So Lee and I are both ports, meaning our oars go out to the right side. And then so in an 8, you have 4 ports, 4 starboards. And then Leah and I are what we call the engine room, or what we call the powerhouse, which is the middle 4 rowers. And then you have your stern pair, which are the people who have nice rhythm so that everyone can follow them. And then bow pair typically have the tech to keep the boat set so we're not going all wonky.
See, the more you know, there is a lot that goes into us. And then you'll also have the Vanderbilt scrimmage coming up this weekend. How are you preparing for that? Is it nice having it back here in Oklahoma?
Yes, we've done a lot of traveling recently. We've been away from home, missed a lot of class. So we're happy to be here. It gives us a longer time practicing on our home course to get ready for that race. We've also been doing a lot of lineup switches, switching people between boats, trying to get that solidified before this race.
Same answer?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're just trying to find effective speed because we have the speed, we have the power, we have the discipline, we have the endurance, but trying to build that speed effectively, I think that we have a lot to build from.
And then also, you guys are balancing a lot right now. You're balancing school, you're balancing rowing, and you are both married. So what is it like? Like, how are you able to keep up with everything? Please tell me. I was about to say, it seems hard.
Great question. No, honestly, just being intentional about where our feet are is so important because it's easy to want to take rowing home or take school home because homework just continues to pile up, especially with Leah being an aviation major. When she's pulled insane, all-nighters, she is constantly busy, I'm constantly busy, so just trying to put things aside and just being where our feet are, no matter where we are, whether it's in the boat, in the classroom, at home with our husbands, we are where our feet are.
I love that.
I think it has a lot to do with time management. We have and mental management. I think when we have our home lives, we have our husbands, we have our classes, we have our schoolwork. That is all very important. And when we're doing that, that's what we're dedicating all of our energy to. But then when we show up to practice, whether that's at the boathouse in the boats, whether that's at the training center on campus, we leave everything else at the door, and that's what we focus on as our team and doing everything we can to make our team and ourselves better.
I'm great that y'all got that going. And good luck this weekend, girls. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Leah, Caroline, and Brooke. I look forward and watching you two in the rest of your season. You guys have a lot on your plate. It's impressive balancing athletics, school, and a family.
And Abby, we've talked a lot of sports already, but when we have even more Sooner sports coming at you right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
It's now time to highlight some other Sooner sports. I promise there was some success in Norman this weekend. So now let's serve it over to the OU women's tennis squad who took on the Florida Gators Sunday right here in the Sooner State. Over the weekend, the Sooners took on Auburn Friday, winning 4-3, then turned around to face Florida on Sunday. The number 10 ranked OU women brought out the brooms, sweeping Florida 4-0. However, the Gators had to forfeit both a singles and a doubles match, so OU did start with a 2-0 lead.
And OU track and field competed at the Texas Relay over the weekend, and it was a good day for the Sooners. Ralford Mullings threw for a world best in the discus throw and the second best in NCAA history, and now they'll host the John Jacobs Invitational on Friday, and it's free for everyone to go see.
Now let's switch things up, taking it from athletes running the track to walking the runway. Our Sooner Sports Pad producer, Amy Acevedo, took a break from her producer chair to talk to some student athletes with style.
Student athletes at the University of Oklahoma shine while competing. But only a handful of them will go pro after college, which after a lifetime of sport can leave some students unsure of where to go next. Enter the Varsity Vogue Fashion Show, where students can show off their styles and prepare for their futures.
Everything about the student athlete experience is really important to me, just to engage student athletes and to get them out of their comfort zone. So I think this event in particular is really fun, just to do something that's out of our uniform, out of the practice gear, dress up a little bit. We don't get to do that often.
But for these students, it's about dressing for success on and off the field. And I could use some help myself.
Our athletes are always dressed in athleisure and getting ready for competition, so they're always fitted in whatever the equipment manager gives to them. And so when it comes to life after sports, there's always a struggle with how to dress. And so we want to help them with that transition of when they get off the field. We want to really help them dress for success, for championships, and then also when they go to apply for jobs in corporate world.
But dressing professionally doesn't mean students have to compromise on personality.
For you to go to Dillard's and have a stylist actually style you, take your opinions into account, and them to show you different options, I think it gives the student athletes the ability to, kind of holistically bring their style, their own personal style and what they like into their professional wear.
And these lessons are some that the student athletes will take with them for a lifetime.
Sometimes going professional can be easier for some sports than others. So for the sports that it's more difficult to do, so knowing how to be prepared in those situations, whether it's how you show up, how you speak, is important.
Reporting from Memorial Stadium, Amy Acevedo, Sooner Sports Pad.
Thanks, Amy. And next up, we have everyone's favorite part of the show, Face Off. Britton and Brooke are all tied up. Stick around to see who's getting the win this week. Welcome back. You know what time it is. It's Face Off. Y'all know the drill. Britton and Brooke will debate all things Sooner sports, and at the end, our lovely audience will choose a winner. Brooke, you can go first. Which squad is your team of the week? Or Britton, go first.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to take this one first. I'm going to go with OU track and field because they just won a ton of competitions at the Texas Relay. They won so much that I don't actually have enough time to talk about them all, so we'll highlight just one. Senior Olivia Luking had a historic day on the pole vault, clearing 4.57 meters. That's 15 feet, which broke the OU record, which she set 2 years ago.
Okay, Britton. OU men's basketball just scored a win after former Sooner and current Atlanta Hawks star Trae Young was named the assistant general manager for the Sooners. His role will consist of evaluating high school and college prospects and guiding players in building their brand. Enough from me. Let's hear from Trae Young.
I'm excited to announce that I'm accepting a role with OU basketball and being an assistant GM, as well as making $1 million donation to help kickstart this whole thing.
Wow.
And, so it's exciting to be a part of this, and being from Norman and playing there, obviously.
Steph Curry accepted a similar role for his alma mater, Davidson. I wonder if this is going to be a trend we're seeing more of, with pro players getting more involved with their schools. But next topic, let's narrow it down a bit more. Which standout Sooner deserves to be your women's MVP?
Now, there couldn't be a better MVP than Jordan Bowers from OU Women's Gymnastics. The senior's one of 5 Sooners ever to earn 14 regular season titles, All-American honors. After her first team recognition on beam, floor, and all-around, she's now tied for the 2nd spot in the nation for the all-around, 3rd on floor, and 4th on the beam.
Really, Brooke? She didn't even compete this week, but Kirsten Deal did, and she dominated in the circle for OU softball. She went the distance, pitching a complete game, only giving up 4 hits, 1 walk, and only allowing 1 run, with 5 strikeouts as the Sooners won 4-1, and there's a reason why that's the only game they won this weekend.
Well, these are some hard picks to make, seeing as there wasn't a lot of winning going on for the Sooners this weekend. But now, I want to hear which Sooner is your men's MVP.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Brooke, so maybe we can agree on something for once, but Trae Young is the obvious MVP this week. He was hired as the assistant general manager of the men's basketball team, which will be huge in recruiting and player development. All of that, plus a $1 million donation to the program.
Let's get back on track. Literally on track. Rafael Mullings was named SEC Field Athlete of the Week after shattering OU's program record in discus with the #1 throw in the world this year at 69.13 meters. To put that into perspective, it's roughly the length of a 23-story building. Britton, he could probably throw you.
All right, it's time for our audience to vote. If you think it was Britton, let me hear ya. All right, now let's hear it for Brooke. We'll hear it for Brooke. All right, this week's winner is me. April Fools, it's gonna be Bryn. That's all we have for Super Sports Pad this week. From Brooke Griggs and Britton Ross, I'm Abby Williams. Thanks for watching. Next week, same time, same place.